Today on the analysis, we are talking political tribalism when loyalty becomes blind and truth becomes the enemy. What happens when a society becomes so politically divided that people begin to defend what they would normally condemn? What happens when corruption is no longer judged by its severity, but by the political party that committed it? What happens when citizens stop asking, is this right? And start asking, who did it? Across Nigeria today, a disturbing phenomenon is unfolding before our eyes. People who once demanded accountability suddenly becomes defender of incompetence when their preferred politician takes power. Citizens who once condemned corruption now explain it away. Citizens who once protested what they describe unacceptable are accepting it now. Supporters who once preached integrity now rationalize failure. The facts may be clear, the evidence may be obvious, the consequences may be devastating, yet millions continue to defend the indefensible. Why? Why do intelligent people see black and insist it is white? Why do citizens attack critics more aggressively than they challenge politicians? And why has political loyalty become stronger than truth itself? Tonight, we examine one of the greatest threats to Nigeria's democracy, political tribalism. Yes, you heard that right. Political tribalism and blind party loyalty. Nigeria is not the first country to experience political polarization, but there is something uniquely dangerous when politics become an extension of ethnic identity, religious affiliation, regional loyalty, and personal survival. In healthy democracies, citizens support parties while holding them accountable. In unhealthy democracies, citizens become emotionally attached to political brands and begin defending them regardless of performance. At that point, politics stops being about governance, it becomes about identity. And when politics become identity, criticism feels like a personal attack. This is where Nigeria increasingly finds itself. For many citizens, criticizing a politician is interpreted as attacking their tribe. Questioning government performance is seen as hatred. Demanding accountability becomes political opposition. Truth becomes secondary. Loyalty becomes everything. Now, let's look at the psychology of blind political loyalty. Human beings are tribal by nature. Psychologists have long understood that people naturally form groups. This group creates belonging, security, and emotional comfort. The moment someone strongly identifies with a political party, that party stops being merely a political organization, it becomes part of their identity. When evidence emerges that the party has failed, supporters face a painful psychological dilemma. Accept the truth and admit that they may have been wrong, or reject the truth and protect their identity. Many choose the second option, not because they are stupid, not because they are not intelligent, not because they cannot see reality, but because admitting failure feels emotionally painful. The mind often protects beliefs before it protects facts. That is why supporters sometimes perform extraordinarily mental gymnastics to justify what they would condemn if committed by political opponents. Now, the Nigerian factor, ethnicity and religion. In Nigerian, political tribalism is amplified by ethnicity and religion. Politicians understand this reality very well. They know that many voters are more likely to forgive failure from someone they perceive as their own. This is why elections often become emotional battles between identities rather than competition between ideas. The conversation shifts from who has the best policies to who represent my group, who represent my politics, who represent my religion. Once politics enter this territory, accountability begins to die. A failed politician can survive, a corrupt politician can survive, and a competent politician can survive as long as supporters continue to view criticism as an attack on their community. The social media war machine. Social media has transformed political loyalty into a permanent battlefield because the social media does not forget. Every day, armies of the influencers, bloggers, content creators, and partisan commentators shape public opinion. Fact competes with propaganda. Evidence competes with narrative. Accountability competes with emotional manipulation. Instead of encouraging critical thinking, many online spaces reward outrage, tribal loyalty, and blind defense. Supporters often spend more time attacking critique than examining the criticism itself. The result is a society where people no longer debate ideas, they defend teams. Politics becomes football, governance becomes entertainment, and citizens become spectators rather than stakeholders. The hypocrisy problem. Perhaps the most troubling aspect of political tribalism is hypocrisy. The same action that is condemned when performed by one party suddenly becomes acceptable when performed by another. The same citizens who once demanded transparency become silent. The same voices that condemn abuse of power suddenly justify it. The same people who celebrated accountability begin attacking those who demand it. This is not a problem unique to any single party. It cuts across political divides. Supporters of virtually every major political movement have been guilty of this behavior at different times. That is why this discussion is not about parties, it is about principles. Because principles that change depending on who is in power are not principles at all. Why even educated people fall into this trap? Let me tell you, many assume education automatically creates objectivity. Reality suggests otherwise. Education can provide knowledge, but it does not eliminate bias. A highly educated person can still become emotionally attached to political identities. Intelligence often helps people construct better arguments for beliefs they already hold. As a result, education does not always protect people from blind loyalty. Sometimes it simply makes the loyalty more sophisticated. Now let's look at the cost to democracy. The consequences are enormous. When citizens stop demanding accountability, leaders become less accountable. When supporters defend every mistake, mistakes multiply. When politicians know their base will defend them regardless of performance, incentives for good governance disappear. Democracy depends on informed citizens, not loyal followers, not political worshippers, not praise singers, not online warriors. Citizens, people willing to challenge leaders regardless of party affiliation. People willing to place national interests above political identity. People willing to say, I voted for you, but you are wrong. This is the foundation of democratic maturity. Now, the big question, perhaps the most uncomfortable question Nigerians must ask themselves is this: do we truly want accountability, or do we simply want our own people in power? Because those are not the same thing. If corruption only matters when opponents commit it, accountability is dead. If incompetence only matters when rivals are responsible, accountability is dead. If truth depends on political affiliation, accountability is dead. And when accountability dies, democracy begins to weaken. Now let's look at the moral and civic reflection. Every generation faces defining choices. For Nigerians, one of those choices may be whether loyalty should belong to politicians or principles. Political parties will come and go. Governments will rise and fall. Politicians will gain power and eventually leave office. But the nation remains, the future remains, the consequences remains. And a citizen's highest loyalty should never be to a politician. It should be to truth. It should be to justice. It should be to accountability, and it should be to Nigeria itself. The greatest threat to democracy is not always corruption. It is not always incompetence. It is not always bad leadership. Sometimes the greatest threat is the citizenry that refuses to hold leaders accountable because those leaders belong to their tribe, religion, region, or political party. The day Nigerians begin defending principle more passionately than politicians may be the day the country starts moving towards the democracy it truly deserves. Until then, the question remains, are we supporting political parties, or are we surrendering our ability to tell the difference between right and wrong? I rest my case on this analysis. Join me in the next one. And don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and put your comment to the questions posed. I remain yours truly, Joseph Osamu Igwan, aka Jojo the Money. I'll see you in my next post.